cool. With whatever we do, Dion is off no love. With whatever we do, Haley the new school. Nyapamne ne kula, nyapangi ragala gena, nyapamne ne kudlukula. Ibuloke no moto ni beti sola. Ibuloke dato ni beti sola.
Bigi Congo.
Lamin.
Na.
Lami te jibe no te nyame Lamin.
Kabona uloko.
Uloko no nyita mo Lamin.
Fabilenki.
Muna ngata afongole.
Aina.
Ngata.
Bruce.
Ngoto de. Fabrama.
Mingi. Baba nyola.
No ngoto le Fabrama.
Na mu jumala kan kuma dite.
Fabrama. Ndele bare muso.
Lunda mana.
Amokata.
Jamani bere.
Alindo ko. Bari ngoto man kontande.
Bari jamani fana na ramudu wa kontan.
Ngoto minaka ngalamin de fon filitala. Lamin jibe nori nyala.
Lamin ila siran sa ne benki. Yala so tol sayni no bo mo lakko momo.
Ngoto.
Nam.
Itedin talo ne Lamin hakilo diata bake karamoto. Anu sa stiri ko di ngole si suoko na amake ko holiday. Si bitu.
Bagona ringa.
Ala ni ko de namo balo.
Ande na ko na ka bulo be dam ala nije.
Ngoto.
Nam.
Ngoto man kontan fere.
Jamani mu ne kata.
Ifika Lamin ki wulo ko no nyintai mon ko do fete malo Lamin nyande sila la be la moy kala.
Jamani karamol be so ne ko fasita ko no ko.
Karambuol ma ni ko karamul soro nda banke comme holiday la. Ngoto. Dini wo nyande sila la ala karangola moy yamen kamen fue. Man kontan anda mande.
Allah nyin kombo ko adanda la kombo ndo la jan karamol soro nda doro. Kamen pro ma ra la kombo. E don dol fana na karamol soro nje karamol soro Lamin adara lo nyino la aman tara fe no ko. Ala mu ne kela.
Lamin ite foyde malon ko sinol be ke kar radio to.
Nga fine.
E ko nyani mo Lamin. Ya mu na fonye.
Bi kabin minaka ntambita nteri mani Fatu.
Ha.
Tambite la ko ala dinol bebe siri be la moyka.
Fa danso am fana ta jele ni subala la ngaje dinni wol be talanta nen kili warol. E be serin jelen.
Sa Lamin fara ku kili wo ke no la ba Lamin bi ta ka wulo ko no nyun tay mo Lamin.
Aman fenela.
Ite dine ni man si yakari la sudo la moy radio to ibaran na.
Mu ne ka ke afende ma nyara ni am.
Telentel jikot.
Afende ma mu ne be ke.
Ite balentel be jikritel. Ni man karambe ku ke. Ya je nata karana mbasa malaya ay tarije.
Banyarande kombo kuran ho findira kombo ide na raje den so ko la ma ta la wulo ko kara mo be so fa membe
ko to wole nati bawo ngalle ni Lamin kuntala kombo kuran o ka fa me ko kuran asototal wala kinai ko esi suwo ko bari ni ko esi suwo ko ibe karangol di ke la radio ni telel to hani tele maso to nya radio be bulan ko to
ha wala
risa nga ay si ay alamo
sa do
ko ta ro bulaji
ado kala nyaadi
kunke nyaadi
radio abe wala mo la ibe mona
ibe la karandirol kala jele
tital radio ko men ka karandirol
ya subject ro baby jele baby jele
do moy fa dan so wala ngombe tambi kana ngadi ni wol de be ikadum bu ko de kala ma
asototal de
Lamin mala be ka wala de
bari lafta alal ideal on ko inde every year second wala fourth.
mona ni ko di ko folle sini ba folle sini no ba
mbasa mba foke nkoto wole fango de ngulindi yalo famo keta bat yu fana bulata ko ko me yen nati jambi Lamin takana ntel beji ko nyineka ya bulay kara wulo kono ta kilar ya bambalo yo be bulaje nkoto dindi ngoy si ayala le sino la moy radio
wara ka munda kara mo man so Lamin nyana kara si so na regular ko smolon
kilar ya
mo be ngala ko momo sa mi do ni ko no kera
Mengi Bruce mi.
no ko do la ba rosa no radio ba no bari woro radio ni abe jele ba ngamra do man be buljan dala nyara nyar woro ko fendi mo la Lamin tayra ba rosa
te ku folo ajibe nori nya labi tamete ku
mun na re
teku
bari ko do famo ke
ja ema nani nyambol si zol le keje kisigi man si zol no le kabun ka nyoma bari nyambu kino ni manya na kafindi ni nambe ko zol la ga
ngale limbeta de be nyambo do dilanna
nyara ni ko ridin fennat nyara nata
bari famo ke da
ngata bun kono tabi bun kono nyara ngando ko fele ko ke baru nganda ni pelo la dija
iyo awa la
bun kono bismillah di sudiara
pendulala ye fongo tanka sina dolu tanka koro ta koro
Good day, viewers and listeners. Welcome to another mathematics lesson. And of course, this lesson is targeting those in the lower basic category, that is grade 4, 5, and 6. In our today's lesson, we are going to look at subtraction on equations with a single variable. But before we get into the lesson proper, first of all, let's try to do corrections on the try questions that were given in the previous lesson. And question 1 reads, 15 plus n equals to 29. 15 plus n is equals to 29. We know that from one side of the equation we have two terms, that is 15 and n. And on the other side of the equation we have 29. And for us to be able to solve this equation, we have to find the value of the unknown, which is n. But in order for us to be able to do that, we have to make sure that we have n stand alone, which is the unknown. But since n is with another term, which is 15, then we have to take the inverse of that, okay? So that we can eliminate it from that side and have n stand alone. We know that from the previous lesson that the inverse of the operation sign, that is plus, the inverse of addition is subtraction. So what do we need to do? We have to subtract 15 from both sides of the equation, okay? And how do we do that? We have 15 minus 15 plus n is equals to, remember, whatever we do on one side, we have to do it to the other side as well. So we have equals to 29 minus 15. Okay. We know that 15 minus 15 will automatically give us 0. Okay? So 15 minus 15 will cancel out. What do we have on this side of the equation? We have only n, and that's exactly what we wanted. Okay? We want to have n stand alone. So we have n is equals to, now on the other side of the equation we have two terms, that is 29 and 15. And 29 minus 15 will give us 14. So the value of n that will make this equation to be true is 14. So 14 is our final answer. So we move on to question 2, and it reads, w plus 27 equals to 49. In this equation, we are to find the unknown. And the unknown in this equation is w. So we need to find the value of w that will make this equation to be true. Okay? How do we go about that? Remember, our first step always is to make sure that the unknown stands alone. Okay? And in order for us to do that, we have to look at the other terms that are with the unknown. From this equation, we can see that we have 27. And we need to get rid of 27 in order to have w stand alone. How do we do that? We know that the operation here is addition. Okay? We have to undo this operation. And from the rules, we are told that the inverse of addition is what? Subtraction. So we need to subtract 27 from both sides of the equation. So let's do that. We'll have w plus 27 minus 27 is equals to 49 minus 27. So what we did here was we subtract 27 from both sides of the equation. Now, we'll have w 27 minus 27 automatically. That will give us 0. They will cancel out. And we'll have w equals to 49 minus 27 will give us 22. So the value of the unknown, which is w, is what? 22. We move on to question 3. Question 3 reads, 63 is equals to V plus 46. 63 is equals to V plus 46. Okay. In this equation, we have a variable which is the unknown, and the unknown is V, and we are to find the value of V in order to make this equation to be true. How do we do that? We know that this side of the equation we have V plus 46, and our goal always is to make sure that we have our unknown stand alone. So in order to isolate our unknown, we have to what? Undo what? Plus 46. Because 46 here is with the unknown. What do we need to do? We need to take the inverse of the operation, because the operation is addition. So we need to take the inverse of addition, and we already know that the inverse of addition is subtraction. So what do we need to do? We need to subtract 46 from both sides of the equation. And that will give us 63. Remember, we are doing it on both sides, so it's going to be 63 minus 46 is equals to V plus 46 minus 46. Okay, so 63 minus 46 will give us 17, and this is equals to V, because 46 minus 46 will cancel out as 0, and we'll have our unknown V, and V equals to 17. Okay, this simply means V is equals to 17. So the value of V that will make this equation to be true is when V equals to 17, and that is exactly what we are looking for. Okay, now we move on to the lesson proper in our today's lesson. Remember, we are looking at what? We are doing what? Equations with what? A single variable on one side. That is only one variable on one side. So from what we just did, that was for addition. Now we are moving on to subtraction. Okay? But remember, the rules still stay the same. It's the same rules that we are going to apply. Okay? It's the same rules. Now let's look at the first question, and it reads, find the value of the missing variable in the equations below. Find the value of the missing variable in the equations below. Now the first equation is E minus 23 is equals to 9. E minus 23 equals to 9. Okay. We have an equation here, and we are to find the value of the unknown. And the value of the unknown here is what we are trying to find. And the unknown is E, which is the variable. Okay? But if you look at the equation, one side of the equation you have E minus 23. And our goal always is to make sure we have the variable stand alone. And in order for us to do that, we have to look at the other term that is with the variable. And in this case here, it is minus 23. So we have to get rid of minus 23. That is, we have to eliminate minus 23 here. And we'll do the same thing on the other side of the equation to have our unknown stand alone. And now, since the term with the unknown is minus 23, and we know that the operation is subtraction, then we have to take the inverse of that operation. And we know that the inverse of subtraction is what? Addition. So what do we need to take? We have to add 23 on both sides of the equation. And that will be E minus 23 plus 23 is equals to 9 plus 23. Okay. We'll have E. We know that minus 23 plus 23 will cancel out, because that is 0. And we'll have E equals to 9 plus 23 will give us 32. So the value of the unknown, which is E in this case, is 23. And when we substitute 32 in place of E in the equation here, we are going to have the equation will be true, okay? That means both sides of the equation will balance. Okay. We move on to the next problem, the next question, and it reads 60 minus R equals to 29. 60 minus R equals to 29. Okay. Wow, we have something interesting here. All along, our variable is always positive. But in this case here, our variable is what? It's negative, it's minus R. So what we need to do, since our variable is negative, we have to turn it into positive, right? In order to do that, we have to eliminate it from this side of the equation. And how do we do that? We take the inverse of the operation, which is subtraction here. And the inverse is addition. Okay, the inverse of subtraction is addition. So we subtract, we add plus R on both sides of the equation. That will be 60 minus R plus R is equals to 29 plus R. Good. Now what do we do here? We have 60 minus R plus R will give us 0. So they will cancel out. And we'll have 60 equals to 29 plus R. Now our variable is positive. And this is exactly what we were looking for. Now the next step now is, what do we do? But on the other side of the equation, we have 29 plus R, and we want to have R stand alone. In order to do that, we have to get rid of the 29. That means we have to eliminate the 29. We have to undo it. How do we do that? The operation here is positive. We take the inverse of that. And the inverse of addition is subtraction. So we subtract 29 from both sides of the equation. And that will give us 60 minus 29 is equals to R. Now we have R stand alone. Okay? Minus 29 will give us 31. We have 31 is equals to R. So the value of the unknown, which was R, is now what? 31. And when we substitute 31 in this equation, the equation will be what? Will be true. Okay? Good. Now we move on to the next slide. And it reads, find the value of the missing variable in the equation below. Find the value of the missing variable in the equations below. So we have two equations. And the first equation reads, 6 equals to 28 minus y. We have 6 is equals to 28 minus y. Okay. From this equation, we can see that our unknown, which is y, is negative. What do we need to do in this case? Just like we did in the previous slide, we need to make sure that we have our variable as a positive what? A variable. In order for us to be able to do that, what we need to do here is we have to take the inverse of the operation. And in the inverse of the operation here is negative. And the inverse of what? Subtraction is what? Is addition. So we have to subtract. We have to add plus y on both sides of the equation. And this is how that is going to be. We have 6 is equals to 6 plus y is equals to 28 minus y plus y. Okay? We are doing this simply because we want to make sure that our unknown is positive. And that is very, very important. Okay, we move on. 6 plus y is equals to 28 minus y plus y is 0. Minus y and plus y will cancel out. And what will we do here? We'll have 28 on this side of the equation. Okay, so we have 6 plus y equals to 28. And remember, we want to have the unknown stand on its own. But the term that the unknown is with is 6. So we need to eliminate 6 here. To do that, we have to look at the operation. The operation is addition. And the inverse of addition is subtraction. So we have to subtract 6 from both sides of the equation. And that will be 6 minus 6 plus y is equals to 28 minus 6. Minus 6. Okay, we know that 6 minus 6 is 0. What do we have? We have y is equals to 28 minus 6 will give us 22. So the value of the unknown, which is y, is 22. So when you substitute the value of y in this equation, 6 equals to 28 minus y, we will have the equation to be true. So now we move on to the next question. And the question reads, 13 equals to k minus 8. 13 equals to k minus 8. Okay. In this equation, the unknown is positive, and that is k. But k is with another term, which is what? Minus 8. Now to have k stand on its own, we need to undo the variable, the term that it is with, that is minus 8. Now since the operation is subtraction, we need to take the inverse of subtraction, and that is addition. So we need to add 8 on both sides of the equation in order to have k stand on its own. Okay, in order to do that, we'll have to add 8 on both sides of the equation. And that will be 8, that will be 13 plus 8 is equals to k minus 8 plus 8. 13 plus 8 will give us 21 equals to k minus 8 plus 8. Minus 8 plus 8 will cancel out because it's 0, and we'll have k on its own. So this simply means k is equals to 21. Now the value of the unknown that is going to make this equation to be true is 21. So when we substitute the value of k, if you substitute 21 in place of k, we'll have the equation to be true. Okay? We move on. Okay, we have some questions that you need to try at home. We have 2 questions, and the question 1 reads, A reads 93 minus x is equals to 64. 93 minus x equals to 64, and B, y minus 43 equals to 19. I'll take it again. B, y minus 43 equals to 19. Okay, viewers, that brings us to the end of this lesson, and we thank you for being with us until we come your way again. Bye for now.